Welcome to my channel, KetoMealsAndRecipes.com. Today I'm going to make a brand new ice cream flavor, a keto adapted version of Chunky Monkey, which is a favorite Ben & Jerry ice cream. And in this version, the ice cream is also very flavorful and creamy because it's using a custard-based ice cream, like the Ben & Jerry original ice cream. And like Ben & Jerry's, this adapted keto ice cream also uses dry roasted walnuts and a generous amount of my 2-ingredient fudge, resulting in a perfect complement to the banana flavor of the base ice cream. This Chunky Monkey ice cream is really rich and extremely satisfying, so you don't need a lot because it has a great mouthfeel and it smells amazing. I wish you were here to smell it with me. In order that you can decide how many scoops of ice cream you can enjoy, the macronutrient ratio for the Chunky Monkey ice cream is 8.7 to 1, with 5.8 grams of total carbs, 1.5 grams of dietary fiber, resulting in 4.3 grams of net carbs per rather generous and mouthwatering serving. There are 3 basic parts to this low-carb ice cream recipe. So let's get started with step 1, which is to make the custard base. Into a deep-sided pan, pour and combine the full-fat heavy cream and the almond milk, or you can use whatever milk of your choice. Place the pot onto the stovetop and set the element to medium-low. Cook at a very light simmer until the temperature reaches 80 degrees Celsius or 170 degrees Fahrenheit. This is the correct temperature for tempering the eggs. Now for step 2. While your cream is heating, separate the egg whites and yolks. Save the whites for some other project. Did you know that you can actually freeze the whites? So don't throw them away. Then add the egg yolks and your sweetener into a mixing bowl and whisk to combine well. Keep beating just until the yolks are pale yellow. You're not whisking to add air or to increase the volume of the yolks and to make this whole mixture frothy. You're just combining and making it pale. And once your yolks are pale, set this bowl aside for a moment until your cream is at the right temperature. Now that the cream mixture has reached the required 80 Celsius or 170 Fahrenheit, drizzle this warm liquid into the bowl with the egg yolks in a slow, steady stream as you continuously whip. And that's so that they won't curdle. Then you can add the rest of the warm milk and whisk to combine. Now that the egg yolks are properly and fully tempered, just pour your tempered cream mixture back into your saucepan and then reduce the heat on your stovetop to low and cook until this custard mixture reaches 80 degrees Celsius or 170 degrees Fahrenheit. It should take about 15 to 20 minutes at this low temperature setting, but do remember to stir once in a while. This slow cooking process removes the taste of the raw cream, and as a result, you'll get a very velvety and rich tasting custard. By the way, if you don't have a thermometer, you can also test to see if the custard is thick enough. Just use a spoon, dip the spoon into the custard, and then run your finger on the back of the spoon, and if you get a clear line that doesn't come together, your custard is done, at which point you should immediately remove the pan from the heat. However, while your custard is cooking, you should do a couple prep things. First, set up a nice water bath like this, and also place a clean large bowl in the ice water. The other prep step you can do while your custard is heating up is to make the 2-ingredient fudge. However, I would recommend that you do take the time and perhaps make the fudge a day ahead, just to reduce the number of steps you have to do all in one go. And just leave it in the freezer until you need it. If you've not made any of my fudges before, let me explain this 2-ingredient fudge very briefly. The first thing you have to do is pour my sugar-free sweetened condensed milk into a pot, and the link for that will be in the description below as well. This is the main ingredient for this fudge. And for the second ingredient for this fudge, all you have to do is grate or chop the pure unsweetened baking chocolate and add it to the pot. And then melt everything over medium-low heat by cooking slowly so the chocolate melts, and when combined there is a grit-free liquid that is a glossy chocolate. Then pour this fudge into a parchment-lined freezer-safe container. By the way, it's a very good idea not to pour hot liquids into plastic containers, at least whenever possible. Then place your fudge into the freezer until it's nice and solid. If you're making it fresh, it should take about 30 to 40 minutes. And also the link for the full video demonstrating it and the written recipe for the fudge will be posted in the description below, as will the link for the written recipe for this Chunky Monkey ice cream. When you're sure your fudge is completely solid, just cut it into very small cubes and then just put these cut up tiny little cubes back into the freezer until they're needed. Now back to the custard because it has reached the right temperature. To strain the custard, place a fine mesh sieve over the bowl in the ice water bath and pour the custard liquid through the sieve. You do this step in order to remove any possible curdled egg bits if they have formed. Usually they shouldn't, but just in case. The next step is to add the banana extract. Stir and have a wee taste. And depending on your extract and how concentrated it is, you may need to adjust the taste by adding just a little bit more. But be careful, you don't want to add too much because what you're looking for is a very nice, light, fresh banana taste, not an overpowering strong taste. In this video, I'm using a local brand because I ran out of the one that I usually use. And this brand is okay, but it's not exactly my favorite. So I'll leave a link for the banana flavored oil-based extract, which I would highly recommend, in the description below. Having added my banana flavor, then just leave the bowl in the ice bath to allow the mixture to first get to room temperature. And once it reaches room temperature, you'll have two choices. You can either leave the bowl with the custard in the ice water bath and just stir from time to time until the custard is quite cool. Or if you don't want to make the custard right away, or perhaps even the next day, once you know that your custard is nice and cool and at room temperature, that means that you can put your hands on the outside of the bowl and it doesn't feel warm to your touch. Cover the custard with cling wrap, putting the cling wrap onto the surface of the custard so that it completely makes a seal over the custard, and place this bowl into the refrigerator. You can leave it in the refrigerator for 3 to 4 hours or even overnight to chill. One of the things I should have mentioned earlier, always prepare your ice cream machine by following the manufacturer's directions. Some machines that don't have a compressor will require that you put the ice cream tub into the freezer the night before so that it's properly chilled. Or if it has a compressor, just make sure it's turned on properly. When your tub is properly chilled and you're ready to make the ice cream, just turn on your machine so the blade begins to churn. And then nice and slowly pour the cold custard into your chilled ice cream tub. Also, if your machine has a degree of hardness setting, turn it on to maximum hardness. And then just let your ice cream maker do its magic and turn this ice cream custard, turn it into an amazing banana flavored ice cream. And while the ice cream is churning, I'm going to dry roast my raw walnuts until they are light golden brown and they smell really nice. And then when you begin to smell the walnuts, remove them from the heat and let them cool. And once the walnuts are cool, cut each walnut half into 4 pieces. This is about the right size for the Chunky Monkey ice cream. Now for step 3, which is the part that you do after your ice cream is all done. First, transfer your ice cream from the ice cream maker tub to a freezer-safe container. And as you can see, I prefer to use glass. I really wish you could be here to enjoy how wonderful this ice cream smells. My mouth is absolutely watering. So I'm going to take a wee little taste. Ooh, this is really good. And the last step is to combine the walnuts and the fudge to make it into the Ben & Jerry Chunky Monkey flavor. The first thing I do is toss the walnuts about 1/3 at a time and fold to combine, and then slowly add the next third, fold, and then the last third, and fold again. Now here are my tiny little fudge pieces. And it's time to add these fudge pieces into the ice cream and fold them to combine. If you like soft serve ice cream, you may want to enjoy some right away, but I prefer mine a little bit harder, so I'm going to put it into the freezer. But to prevent the skin from forming on top of the ice cream, I like to lay a layer of cling wrap onto the surface and then place the airtight lid over the container. Place your container of ice cream into the freezer for about 3 or 4 hours minimum, or until it's the right hardness for you. However, if you leave your ice cream in the freezer overnight so that it's actually quite solid, in order to make it scoopable, Just take the container out of the freezer about 10 to 15 minutes before you're ready to serve, and then scoop out. Serve it and enjoy. As I mentioned several times, I'm really pleased with this ice cream. It is so tasty and so close to the original Ben & Jerry Chunky Monkey ice cream. I hope you'll give it a try very soon too. In closing, if you like banana ice cream and Ben & Jerry's, you'll really love this ice cream because it has a wonderful balance of flavors with the sweet banana ice cream base, the less sweet 2-ingredient dark chocolate fudge, and the really nice mouthfeel of the crunchy walnut pieces. Thank you so much for watching to this point. If you like this ice cream recipe, please also check out the end links and share this channel or recipe link with someone you think might also like this recipe or my channel. And please like, leave a comment, and if you're new to my channel, subscribe. Thank you very, very much for watching my video, and I hope to see you next time. Cheers!